This is MC Fireside Chats, a weekly show devoted to the outdoor hospitality industry, hosted by Brian Searl and Cara Csizmadia. You'll hear from special guests that focus on topics to help your business succeed, all backed by Modern Campground, the most innovative news source in the industry.
To another episode of MC Fireside Chats. My name is Brian Searl with Insider Perks. Normally here, as always, with Cara Csizmadia. We tried to put her on the show. She's in Canada. She's the only one who's not live here at the KOA Convention and Expo in Orlando, Florida. But my laptop is terrible. It doesn't have good audio, so I couldn't hear her really far away. So Cara's actually watching backstage. She's going to kind of wave at me if she has super important and insightful things to say, because really nobody wants to hear from me. But we're super excited to be here at the KOA Convention. We have Toby O'Rourke, President and CEO of KOA, with us. We've got Jeffrey Hoffman from the Sandusky Bayshore KOA, Founders Award, President's Award winner. We're going to talk a little bit about that stuff. We've got James from the Grants KOA Journey. Like, you have another KOA, James, right? You threw me off there for a second because we work for you. And I'm like, we don't work for Grants. Anyway, we've got Nate Thompson from KCN Campgrounds, owns 6 franchises. And we've got Grant, who is a late addition to the show. Grant is from Wootteon KOA. Can we see Grant? We got to all kind of shift around here. If you don't see yourself in here when you're talking, we can make it work. But all these people are here, so super excited to have them. We're going to start with Toby. We got a little mic we're going to pass around here. We'll see if this ends up in a disaster. But Toby, first impressions. 60 years, right?
60 years. This is a big convention for us. It's really fun. That's why we're in Orlando. You got to go big when it's your 60th anniversary. So we've had a great week. We had a big kickoff at Universal Studios. We just got done celebrating our partner awards, and it even gave away 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards, which we don't typically do every year, give that away. So that was pretty special. But the energy's great. Everyone's excited about KOA. Everyone's excited about the anniversary, and it's been a good week so far.
I know. I went to your first timers event, where Mr. Bell lost his voice, I think, and some of the other people have too. But super excited. Everybody's just thrilled to be here. I saw the little tunnel for all the award people that we ran in that Cam got going. So yeah, just super excited. There's always a special energy at KOA, right? Because you guys are all so proud to be part of the franchise.
We are. I mean, we call it the KOA family. It really feels that way. These people have been in business together for a number of years. We're welcoming in, new conversions, new people that are coming into the business, and immediately they're welcome into that KOA family. Good energy, good spirit. Everyone supports each other. We're just very proud to be in the business we're in, and that we all wear yellow.
Is there something that you can point out that's kind of really impressed you about this year's convention? And I know everyone is special, right? Is there something you pick out that you're just like, wow, that's cool that happened that way, or that?
Oh, goodness. I don't even know where to start. I mean, from the simply logistics, I think our kickoff night at Universal, super special. We had Marvel Island just for us. So
that was really fun.
Everyone got to ride the Hulk over and over. But I think what was pretty special is our owner was here, Oscar Tang. He hasn't been to convention for at least 10 years at our 50th anniversary. He may have been here 6 or 7 years ago, but it's pretty special when he comes, and everyone likes to hear him speak. And it was pretty cool to see Oscar even out riding the roller coasters, but then coming in the next day and talking about his passion for KOA and his, deep support for the franchise system, and his assertion, he wants to continue to own this company for the long term. So it's pretty special.
Awesome. I'm going to just let a few other people here talk. And if you need to go, by all means, or you can hang out with us, whatever you want to do. Jeff is the owner of the Sandusky Bayshore KOA Holiday, also on the ARVIC Board of Directors. But super excited to see you here, Jeff. I think we've been hanging out for about a week and a half now. Tell me, what's been going on at the Bayshore KOA Holiday, and what are your impressions of this amazing 60th year convention so far?
Well, actually, at the Sandusky Bayshore, we've shown some growth over this year, which was great. We've added some new sites, which is what I think most of the campgrounds have been doing lately. And it's been a very different year, but a good year overall.
Yep.
And I don't know, we had a good year. I love coming to this convention. As you know, we were both at RVAC. This convention always has a lot of energy for me because the people are here, everybody's in yellow, and it's great. The 2 awards they gave out today that they gave to Al Johnson and to Mr. Bell are so
Lifetime Achievement
yes,
Awards, yeah.
so well deserved. There's not two people that I respect more in the industry than Al Johnson and Mr. Bell. They have just done so much for the industry all the way along. So
tell me, what are your impressions of the conference so far? Like, obviously, you've been to quite a number of these KOA one shows, right? What are your takeaways? What have you learned? Any good conversations that you've had that are really amazing?
I have a lot of amazing conversations. I'm usually late to everything that I go to because I end up talking in the hall way too long.
I've noticed that.
And just the energy that's here.
Yeah.
The growth in KOA and just the excitement that people have at KOA this year is amazing. I mean, I've been to a few. Obviously, we missed a couple years with COVID, but this is even, it is the 60th, but it seems to have an energy all of its own. So far, it's been a great convention. I haven't even got to the expo yet. So
then it open up here in a few hours.
Yeah, then it should be awesome. We've got, I believe, a record number of vendors this year too. So
do we? Okay, I hadn't heard that yet. So probably shouldn't have let the cat out of the bag. That was probably a secret press release that we were supposed to embargo or something. We're not allowed to tell secrets, Chad.
You know me. I'm not good at that.
Let's talk to James. James is from the Brigham City Perry South KOA, but also brand new owner of Grants KOA. Must like KOAs, right?
Yes. We love the brand. We love what it represents. It's definitely, I think there's in buying a new one recently, I think the biggest thing is there's a bit of a security blanket around it with all the support and just references to go to for any problems at any turn. So
it's really one of the things that impresses me so much about KOA is obviously they've got a huge corporate team, but they're doing so many things for you at so many levels that no matter what your question is or what your problem is, there's always probably 3 or 4 people that you can turn to and get those answers from pretty quickly.
Yeah. It's always really quick. I mean, there's always somebody that can, I remember when we first brought into the franchise 5 years ago, we did our diligence, talked to tons of owners, what's KOA like, right? Because you start this lifestyle to try to get away, to do something different. You're trying to be your own. It's got the entrepreneurial spirit to it. And then you throw a franchise corporate on top of it and you go, wait, am I just buying into a job, another corporate job? And every campground owner that we talked to was, it wasn't a job. It wasn't anybody overseeing you. It wasn't a thumb on you. It was somebody, hey, how do we support you? How do we make you better? How do we take you to the next level? So, and that's from a corporate standpoint. And then you come to things like this, like the convention with people, right? And then you've got the people that really get their hands dirty and are able to tell you all the nitty gritty, how to make it better.
So what's the biggest thing that you've same question to him, right? Taken away from this conference, anything unique or special that stands out?
I think the conference is always great. It's always about the people. But there's always things to take away. I've been to, a few of the classes, different things. And I think, and I apologize, I forget the motto, Toby. Good thing she left.
She's right behind you.
Yeah, right.
She is really.
But basically there's, everything's changing, right? It's always going to change. It's always going to evolve. And, COVID was something that was out of our control and we just all had to adapt and deal with it. Yep. But when you start talking, just getting started, right? Just getting started is the motto.
You were pointing at the motto.
Yes, he's helping me out. He's helping me out.
There's something on my face that,
Jeff's got my back. But, I think it's, we talked about EV, right? And in some of the classes, they're talking about 2024, the RVs, the ERV will be coming out.
Yep.
And, how are we going to react to that? How are we going to adapt to that? Glamping's becoming huge. How do we adapt to that? And then I think, probably the biggest thing that drives all of our businesses forward that I took away from a couple of the classes was the people part. How do we inspire that team? How do we inspire that next generation? How do we connect with them to where they want to work? They want to be part of it. They want to be part of each of our organizations. So I think that's probably my biggest takeaways.
Awesome. Nate, KC and Campgrounds met this gentleman, a couple weeks ago now?
Yeah, a couple weeks
Maybe
ago.
A little bit longer, but
yep.
Super excited, obviously, to be in the KOA system. 6 KOA franchises.
That's right. Yeah, first year doing convention, and so it's been a whirlwind. It's been great. I think a couple of other folks have talked about just the people and the energy, and Toby touched on that as well. It's palpable. It's really great being here and seeing this and doing the breakouts and picked up a lot of great information already. The EV stuff I thought was fascinating as well. I thought that was going to be a ways out, a little bit further, and it's kind of knocking on the door. So there's thinking and planning to do now around that as we look at our parks. And yeah, overall, it's been great.
But now you mentioned it's your first convention, so you've been
is.
acquiring pretty fast.
Why
KOA?
Well, I did a lot of research before, like it sounds like you did, before joining the franchise. And everything that I learned about KOA was really impressive. Among other things, just the real use of data in all the decision making and being able to aggregate trends and data across all the parks and then lift that back up to the franchisees. It's just been great. The whole franchise system has been really supportive. To your point, there's not one person to get answers from. There's maybe 2 or 3. So it's been great. It's been everything that I was hoping for and then some.
So where is KCN going from here? What's your philosophy? How do you? I mean, don't tell us your secret sauce, right?
Yeah.
But where do you want to go? Where do you want to be in a couple years?
Well, we're very big in the camping space. We think it's got continued growth as well. And I think Toby touched on this year is kind of a new plateau from which we'll continue to grow. So we're going to continue to grow ourselves. And
can you go steal it from me, Jeff?
And get more parts.
Hey, Toby.
Can I ask you one more question before you leave? Go ahead, Nate.
I'm good. Yeah.
No, continue, please.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I forgot to talk about your startup mentality. Can you tell us about that real quick? Like, I really wanted you to touch on that because I thought that was super powerful.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So we, in my opening remarks, I talked about the fact that, it's our 60th anniversary, so it's a good time to look back. Talked about how our founders had this startup, had an idea, had a vision, and now we're 60 years later. How can we tap back into that startup mentality? So there's a lot going on at KOA, and all the time, I would tell people, we're an established company, but I feel like I'm working for a startup just because how busy things are, right? Yeah. And business has accelerated so dramatically, and we're doing so many things. And so I just decided to play off that concept. So I talked about people having to tap in, ask questions, continue to improve every aspect of your business, build high-performing teams, be, mission-driven, and just ways that we can start to think like a startup, because I think established companies, if they can't pivot, they can't be adaptable and flexible, they'll be disrupted. And I'm not going to let KOA get disrupted. So we got to keep moving.
You're one of the smartest people I've ever met, Toby. Do you remember the conversation we had at Arvik years ago where I told you were going to be CEO and you're like, no, it's never going to happen?
No, I don't remember that.
I knew at that time you were the smartest person at KOA.
Oh, that's super nice. But I don't know if that's true, but I love it here. And we've got great people. Love my team. Franchise system is so solid. We've got a lot of good things going for us. So
it really impressed me when you said that, because obviously I'm an entrepreneur, I build businesses, but what you're saying, like, it's very easy to get lost and stuck in the same. I read a stat, I can't remember exactly what it was, but in the 1950s, I think the average company lasted 70 or 80 years, and now it's 40 or 30.
Oh, really?
Because they just aren't adapt, like Kodaks and the IBMs, and they aren't able to.
That's true. Yeah, I'm going to have to look that up because that's really relevant to where we're at. It is pretty cool because some of the companies that came about the same time we did are no longer here. Yeah. Kodak's a perfect example. And in fact, we've talked about that in previous conventions. We've continued to hold up, but now our business, like I showed the other day, we're 34% ahead of where we were in 2019, which was our best year in history. And that's why we need this. We need to tap into that energy, right? So.
All right, last question. You've got your bunch of your franchisees.
I know, and I was just saying, I've got really good franchisees and really good new franchisees coming in. It's not just the old timers like Jeff who are awesome.
Age him. Look at Jeff. He's so young.
I just mean he's been around the system a long time. We've got a lot of new energy too, which is awesome.
I heard a new description. It's called experienced campground owner.
We have a lot of experienced campground owners.
So last question, what does the future hold for these guys and everybody else is in this room?
Oh gosh. Well, a program we started, which you know about many years ago, was Campground of the Future. Mm-hmm. But what's been fun of that, it wasn't just a one and done. So every year we're refreshing Campground of the Future. What does KOA look like in 5 years? What does KOA look like in 10 years? As part of that startup mentality too. What I think's been really fun is some of the initial concepts that we thought about and ideated on like 4 or 5 years ago, we're actually building. So you're going to see these solar recharge stations at Expo tomorrow, which is a really great, new addition. Yeah, and people can recharge themselves and plug in their devices, and it's all solar energy. We've got new main building designs. We introduced something called a signature site, which takes our KOA patio site concept to a whole new level, and just ways that we can continue to have these unique things about our campground that we can market, because we're a marketing company. So yes, any campground can go build signature sites, but we're going to put our marketing machine behind that and make that really something special that campers, when they show up your park, like, what's your signature site? You know what? Because all signature sites are going to be different. There'll be a base level of requirement. Like, what's signature about what do you do differently? So it's fun, right? And so
really going to change the game.
We're going to.
I saw some of the sites they built in Australia, right? And how they're so far advanced. And people see that over here.
And I think Australia, I've been to a lot of parks in Australia. Australia does accommodations really, really well.
Okay.
But we far exceed in RV sites.
Okay.
By far. So I think, and that's been fun. We actually had partnerships with some of the companies in Australia
Big Four,
where
right?
we do a lot of, Big Four and also Discovery Parks.
Okay. Yep.
Where we do a lot of idea sharing. And so we have, I think, a lot of innovation and really putting our stamp on what ideal RV sites are. And then we learn a lot about their accommodations business. A lot of that stuff has been infused in what we deliver. You know, glamping's continuing to grow in popularity, and that's going to be a key in our future. You won
an award. Like Whitney was at the glamping show.
We did. We won an award for what we've done with our other brand. But we take a lot of that learning, and that's infused in our KOA system. A lot of our KOAs have some form of unique accommodation. That's not just something we do in Terramore. A lot of our parks. And you sit in our awards this morning, we're showcasing our President and Founders Award, and we put pictures up, 2 or 3 pictures. Those are all pictures sourced from campers.
Yeah.
You know, it's not what the owner's taking, it's a camper photo. And there was a lot of shots of glamping units, you know, a lot of unique accommodations up there, because that's what campers are really. That struck. I mean, I made a mental note of that this morning. Like, that's what people are taking the pictures of, and they're excited about.
Well, and I'm sure Whitney came back and told you 37 countries. There were 77 different accommodations set up outside, and so many people from the UK who we met are just kind of like a blueprint for where this is probably going to go in the States.
Yeah, that's a big trend that we're definitely capitalizing on at KOA. I like to say we released a North American glamping report. When you ask glampers what they consider glamping, cabins are the number one mentioned accommodation. So we are the largest source of glamping in North America by that definition. And if we can reframe cabins in that equation, which a lot of times you talk glamping, you just think canvas tent or teepee or yurt. Cabins really are what customers call glamping.
Yep.
I mean, more than any other form. KOA wins, right? So we continue to invest in our accommodations and our glamping, and we're going to attract this whole new audience base. And that's what glamping's about. It's people that maybe don't want to consider traditional camping, but they're attracted to outdoor stays in a unique way.
Well, I'll let you go. I know you've got tons of
I'm going to
things
go
on your
sign a
schedule.
license plate. That's pretty.
You're going to go sign a for what?
A license plate. No, we've got a lot of people that have KOA license plates, so we're going to go check it
I
out.
still remember the KOA yellow Hummer somebody had at convention years ago.
Yeah, we always auction off a vehicle, and I think one year we had a yellow Hummer. We've had Jeeps.
Yep.
We've had yellow sports cars. And
We had a yellow Mustang, a yellow Jeep. I
Yeah.
haven't won one yet.
I haven't won.
Trying.
I never win.
You'll get there, Jeff.
We have a bright yellow golf cart this year, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm going
Thank
to
you,
talk to
guys.
these other people. I just don't want to hold you up. Thank you so much again for joining us. All right. Okay, so Nate, we cut you off a little bit. Let's get to Grant here real quick. So Grant, I legit don't know anything about your campground because you were a last-minute guest. I was going to interview you for an article, but now you're just live on the show, which is even better. So we're broadcasting to 13 Facebook pages, groups, LinkedIn, YouTube. No pressure. There's only about a potential audience of 30,000
I deal
or
with
something.
5,000 names a year.
There you go. That's all. So tell us about, is it Raton?
Raton,
Raton KOA
Raton.
Journey.
Northeast New Mexico, the last town leaving and the first town coming into New Mexico from Colorado. Small campground, one of the first. Actually, it was the first KOA in New Mexico.
Okay.
I've been there. March will be 20 years. So I'm almost at the 20. I'll be up on stage next year, maybe.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Congratulations,
unless things change, but love it. My father-in-law had one, Garden City, Bear Lake, Utah, or what is now Lakeside. He had that one for 13 years, and asked us to manage that one for him. And on the way over, he said someone made an offer on the property, and so he worked it out so that my wife and I trained the new owners for a year while we researched, and this is the one we chose because of its location and parts that were important for us were within easy shot driving to get to. And so we've been there. My wife was 4 months along when we took possession of the property, and both of my kids are in college now. So it's been a place where we raised our kids, and very, very pleased about the choice we made.
So 20 years coming to KOA conferences off and on ish. 20 years coming to KOA conferences off and on.
I've probably been to 12 to 14 KOA conventions.
So what has changed from the first convention to today in your mind that sticks out the biggest for you?
The thing that I appreciate the change the most of, to be kind of off the wall, is originally they had everybody that won an award go across the stage, shake their hand, and so you had 300 people going across the stage, and then they go across again and give them the next award. They don't do that anymore. They do it as groups up on the screen, which is nice because then we can all applaud to each of them as opposed to all of us being on stage and nobody acknowledging us. But the way that the technology is changing, the way that they're able to help us analyze the information that we have and to better fine-tune the site, the campgrounds. It's like being in a family. I can go to the other campgrounds and say, I'm having trouble, or is this working for you? And KOA has a few corporate-owned properties that they do all the experiments on.
Yeah.
So they don't ask us to make a change until they've tried it in those.
It's a pretty unique benefit.
It overcomes so many potential problems by doing that, and then going in and seeing how we can. It'll help us decide, or help us give us information. KOA doesn't demand that we do anything. They suggest things, and then we make the decisions ourselves based on our own desires, how ambitious we are, how much we're willing to hurry or rush, or how timid. I'm more of a timid campground owner.
Okay.
So I make changes slowly, where some of the others, like the Campground of the Year and those kind of philosophies, they've been in it for generations and have learned that growth is beneficial. So much more ingrained in them than it is for me, coming from other industries before coming into the camping industry.
So what? Tell us about your park. Like, what's something you've learned along the way in 20 years that you feel would help other owners who are new to the KOA system, kind of not make those same first-time mistakes, right?
Well, my first-time mistakes weren't quite so many because my father-in-law, when he sold, he moved to my town.
Okay.
And so he mentored me.
All right.
And lived nearby. Actually lived on the campground for a while.
So your advice is for everybody to get a father-in-law.
Yes. One problem with having a father-in-law that used to own a campground is that whenever somebody needs something, if you didn't have it in the store, he'd take it off your trailer and sell it. Then you had to go buy a replacement parts for your trailer before you could go anywhere. But because of that, the revisiting of the guests has just grown. If we treat them properly, they will remember and they will come back. Even my work campers, I had 3 sets of work campers that have worked for me 8 or more seasons. If you can get work campers that you trust, get them to come back, and they will make owning so much easier. Because they're the ones that are doing your work. They're the ones that the customers see. Also, they're my sales staff. They're the ones that get people to come back because they treated them nice. They told them that there was something you missed this time that you can visit next time you come through. And so I sent my workers to the museum so that they can say what the history is of the area.
It's not a bad idea.
Because I don't have events per se. Mine's more outdoors. They can say, this is the history of here. This is where Jesse James was. This is where this guy's buried. This is where you can hike through the coal camp. And so they
you know where all the bodies are buried? Is that what you said?
I know a couple of them.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
we'll talk about that later.
Not on there. Yeah. But the more you know about your area and your campground, the more you can sell the guests on the area, not just what you have. One disadvantage I have is that my customers come in at night, they leave in the morning. I don't get all day to talk to them. And so I've got to sell them on their next visit.
Yep.
And to come and give yourself an extra day. And then we can show you. If you want to stay a week, I can keep you busy for a week and find stuff for them to do. You don't have anything to do, come and ask me, and we'll talk about it right then. What do you want to do?
Well, that makes it part of the experience, though, right? That's what brings people back to you because of your service. We talked a lot about on the show experiential hospitality. You know, it's glamping, it's luxury camping, but it's an experience that the customer is craving, and that can be as little as a curated concierge service. It can be package deals that you put together. It can be luxury cabins, unique tents, the new amazing sites that Toby showed, right? And so it can be so many things.
And sometimes it's the other campers. We used to have a 4-generation motor motorcycle family come through.
Okay.
And they'd come with all their cooking supplies. And they'd shop at the local markets, buy stuff from the local stores, cook everything. They couldn't take anything with us, so they gave it out to the other guests. And the other guests would come and sit there and have fried chicken and fresh corn on the cob and all the beans and coleslaw and all the stuff they made from scratch and meet those new people. And then they're gone. They go to the next campground. People would go up and go fishing and get their limit and come back, and they just do that for 3 or 4 days. And on the last day, they have a fish fry. Everybody's cooking it in a different formula, and you want to come by and try one, and they let you try something. So the more you can get them to interact, the different it is from a hotel, because no one sits on the porch swing outside their hotel. So camping is and RVing is so much different than any other way out there. It's just when we started getting people that wanted work camping to be their career, that kind of let me know that people were looking at camping as a legitimate thing now, as opposed to just something you go and someone brings you firewood or something, brings you ice at your site. It is so much more because you get to see you get to talk to the people next to you.
Yep.
You get to know what's in the area without having to go anywhere. Is this place worth coming by again? I only had 20 minutes. No, it's not. Big difference when the people in the staff can say hi and stay and talk with you, or the people next to you are willing to tell you what they did last time they were through. We've had family members that didn't know they were related run into each other at the campground and finish their trip together.
That's interesting. Okay.
So it's and every campground has so many different opportunities from the one next to them. But when I go into business, I've got cousins that I can ask questions to. I've got uncles that have been in there forever that I can call and ask questions to. If the 4 people I call here don't have an answer, then they'll get together with another 15 and figure out how to deal with the problem. Yeah. I'm never alone unless I want to be. I don't call anybody, I'm fine. I call somebody if I need help. Or when I call for help on the computer, they are so nice, and I say, I'm sorry I bugged you. Oh, no, you're fine. You're no problem. That's what I'm here for. And it's just a fun conversation just to get an answer to a problem on my computer. It's just an incredible family to deal with on the whole system.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Grant. What else do we got to talk about? How much time do we have? I'm going to cheat and look at my phone here. We've only been here for 20 minutes, guys. We've got to talk about something else. So we've been talking about convention and some of the breakout sessions and stuff like that. We've been through the award winners. I don't know, what most impresses you about maybe where KOA is headed? Like, you've got some sneak peeks of these sites and stuff like that. Maybe the direction that they're going to go with Terramore, some of the innovations that they're doing. They is it public? Am I allowed to say that they're going to have shoes? I don't know if that's...
Yeah, they're right behind you.
Oh, they're right behind me. Okay. Whew. I thought I was going to get in trouble with somebody. I feel like it was public. But so all kinds of different innovations and branding and things that are going to change in the future. So I guess, is there something that most excites you about where KOA is headed? Because you're going to be here another 20 years, right?
Maybe. It's possible. If I hire the right people, then it's very doable. If you get enough help, any campground can keep going. The more you try to do on your own, the more you try to do by yourself, harder it is. I was short-staffed this year. It was me and one other guest, one other worker.
Yeah.
And so we didn't get to do anything but what was necessary. But before that, when I have couples working, then I can't, when I have enough staff, then I can go and talk to people. I can get to see what they need, what they want, what they're looking forward to, and I can make those changes for next year. I can make those corrections to meet what the guests are looking for. If there's a problem, I won't hear about it unless I talk to them. They'll tell the next campground. They won't tell me.
That's true.
And so that kind of makes it hard for me until I go and look at the evaluations and the reviews that we get. Something that KOA really helps with is if you're getting into the system or getting out of the system, they will help you on both ends. They'll talk to you and answer questions if you're looking to buy a campground, and then they'll tell you what kind of campgrounds are available and what those things, what kind of a lifestyle that give year round. Is it a seasonal and you get to go away for a couple of months? And then if you're leaving, they'll help you learn how to evaluate your campground and how to price it right for the next person to come in. And then they will help try to find the right person for that campground so that it stays in the system, and then they can continue to grow in the direction that's best for that region and that type of facility. So that was they've got sessions on how to best treat your work campers.
Yep.
That's a really good one because the look of work campers is changing. It used to be the average guest was 74% of the guests were 50 and over.
Oh yeah, 45 and older. That was a crazy stat.
And now it
was 76% were 45 or older 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
And then in 10 years now, 73% are 45 or younger.
Yes.
That's crazy. That is mind
The
blowing.
guests are changing, and so the work campers are changing. You're going to find fewer retirees and more people that want to get out of the corporate structure that are still in the working age. And one of my work campers is a retired letter carrier from Vermont. Another one of my work campers is a Marine who's under 30 or under 40. So you can get people on all spectrums if you're willing to take the time and find the right people.
We'll take the time to find them and treat them well, right? Make sure they're valued and they have enthusiasm and that kind of thing, right? And that's how you keep and retain staff, especially when it's really hard to find them.
Yes, if you treat them like staff, there's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
With more of them. If you treat them like family,
family, yep.
Then you're going to find someone that just doesn't seem like work to.
Yeah.
They'll still be there on time, and sometimes they'll stay late because they want to finish their project, and they forget to put that on their time card. In spite of telling you, if you work, you get paid.
Yeah.
Write it down.
Yeah,
I just wanted to finish it.
No.
I've had work campers come in early, a couple weeks early, and they say, I'm bored. I'm going to go do something. So unless I tell them to stop, they're going to start working, even though they're not being paid. The campground becomes theirs, and they treat it like that. And so it's really, really beneficial to have people that love your property. And
it's just a testament to your leadership. That's all it is.
Love your family.
Okay.
Or just good ice cream. That could be the...
That's it. It's the little things. Nate.
Yes.
Same question to you. What are you most excited about for the future of KOA?
Well, I love the startup mentality as a recovering technology professional myself.
Yeah, go ahead. Do you briefly want to touch on your background?
Well, sure.
No?
So
just briefly.
I've started a number of tech companies in my past, and that's been my kind of professional career. And I've always done real estate in the night. That's my night job. Always wanted to turn that into my day job, which I'm now able to do. It's a very exciting kind of personal shift for me. But looking at that startup mentality, the ability for within that context. One of the things I believe, having done this in the past in a different kind of context, is doing lots of proof of concepts, lots of different trials, fail fast, fail quickly, learn from it, and move on. And so in the first year, we did a solar project in Kansas. We're doing glamping kind of POCs in Sharon, Wyoming, and in Wisconsin Dells. And we're just doing all these little different kinds of experiments to see what moves the needle and what doesn't. And it fits directly in with that kind of vision of startup mentality, growth mindset. Those types of things I think are really, really important.
Yeah, it's so critical.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think your background plays really well with that and going into what you're going to do in the future. And just that ability to pivot and change and fail. Like I love failing because you can't win unless you know how to suck at it first, right?
You may not learn as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but cool. Thank you. James, same question to you. What most excites you about the future of KOA?
I think the thing that excites me the most really is that statistic, which blew my mind, which I think all of us would attest. So we've seen this shift. We've seen, where you don't got to be 65 or older to own an RV. You can be younger and it's okay. And the pandemic just spurred that like crazy, and working from home. And so I think that's what excites me the most is, the clientele that's coming in is changing dramatically, right? So which probably hasn't changed in 50 years, 60 years, right?
Ever, right?
It's been kind of under this umbrella, and now it's dramatically changing where you've got, 40, 50-year-olds, they've got families, they've got kids, and they're not just looking to hang out at their RV or just chill. Like they're looking for stuff to do. They're looking to, hey, what's in your area? What can I do? So from a business perspective, I'm looking at it, how do I make sure that I get that conversation with them that says, hey, let me go show you or tell you about these 5 things in my area. If I'm going to text that out to them, am I going to email that out to them? How do I connect with them on a different level that they equate to that's going to engage them? I mean, I think that's what excites me the most, like figuring that out. Plenty of trial and error in that process, I'm sure. What's going to work, the verbiage, the signage, and how many times do I hit them before they're like, I'm never coming back because you marketed the heck out of me, which is fine, right? We're going to learn from that. But I think that's what excites me the most is how do we engage those younger groups, those families? How do we get them to stay a couple extra nights? How do we get them, to make those overnight or pass through, like, hey, we're going to catch you on the way back. We're going to hit you next year, and we're going to stay 2 or 3 nights instead. And so because they had a great time, right? And it always is right. And it always goes back to that staff, right? You got that core, you got that staff, then you can fail all the time, right?
Yep.
Because there's always somebody there to pick you up, and the KOA family is part of that staff, plus what we have in our campgrounds. But I think that's probably what excites me the most, is just it really is a new time. I mean, I don't think we've ever been before, and where we're going to go. It's definitely not stagnant.
No,
so.
we're at the beginning, I think, of that new time. It's going to change so rapidly, and nobody really knows where it's going to go. But I feel like we all know that here and everywhere else in the industry that we've got a lot of support, and people are going to be there to have our backs, right?
Yep.
Whether you're a KOA or an independent or whatever, but especially if you're a KOA. There's a lot more yellow shirts.
Yes.
So
that support's huge.
Yeah. Jeff, same question to you, sir.
Well,
I don't want to block your beautiful face. I'm just going to turn it this way a little bit.
Brian, I did start a new career, right?
Yes, you did. Yep. Okay. Go ahead and talk about it for a minute if you want.
Well, it's not so much that. It's just I can tell you KOA does such a great job of helping their people. I have only one client that is a KOA.
Okay. So that's okay. I got you. So, that's kind
so
of
they do a very, very, very good job of supporting their campgrounds, their new members, their old members. They give them a lot of information. They give them a lot of time. They work with them. They've always been one of the most innovative companies in the industry. They have always been ahead of the curve, or at least have their mind out there looking for new things to adapt into the industry. So generally, most of the KOA parks are leaders, not followers in the industry, and that's why they have a tendency to be more profitable than anybody else in the industry. I don't know. They do a great job.
The future, Jeff. We're focused on the future.
Okay.
They do a great job now.
Right. And what we're focusing on the future is they're putting a lot of investment into their tech. We need to upgrade everything and get the technology and keep moving the technology forward.
I just think Cara has a comment over here. So
okay.
Over here.
Our reservation systems, our operation systems all need to keep growing, because I'm sure you like data. I love data, and that's the only way that we can maintain our businesses. Yeah, we need to have that.
71% is online bookings now.
Yes.
71%.
Yep. And I also came from the hotel business too, because I had hotels plus campgrounds. And in the hotel business, we had online reservations quite a few years ago. Then they integrated and were seamless. And it got to the point, at one time I had 12 reservationists sitting in one room that could answer or take reservations for all the hotels and the campgrounds. I'm now down to one person that can do that, because all the reservations are online. And KOA was pretty much on the cutting edge of that. I think it was today that they said they had introduced that 10 years ago or 20 years ago. I know it was in there because I wrote it down, because I have because I do have a meeting with Toby and some of the tech guys a little bit later today, and I wanted to bring that up.
Make sure you're talking to the mic.
But it's been, I've been in now 15 years into KOA, so I'm actually a newbie kind of into KOA. I've been in the camping business for about 40.
We were seeing, right?
Yeah.
It's 50 the highest now, I think.
Yep. But there's a reason that I joined the KOA. I learned from other franchises that there's no sense reinventing the wheel. And when I was running campgrounds, I was out there on my own. I was the only person that was giving me advice. I was the only person that I could ask for advice. And it's lonely. One of the great things about KOA is I can come to this, you and we can all sit in a room and chat and work out problems. It's one of the few industries that we can do that. And moving forward, we steal ideas from each other. Our future is, the path to it is kind of set here, because everybody talks about where they want to go. and I'll hear a great idea from, Nate or from James or from Grant and go, that sounds like an awesome idea.
What about me? You want your ideas? You left me out, man. I'm not part of the KOA club.
Well, you're not part of the KOA club, but you send me information every day via your
information, but not good ideas. Let's be clear. I don't have any good ideas. But you are not wrong, and I want to point out, like James' little batch here, right? Asking me about KOA 20 groups. You want to touch briefly on what that is? That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, so KOA 20 groups, the idea is that you've got approximately 10 campgrounds, and you guys get together on it's just, as opposed to a convention, it's way more intimate. So you'll sit down, literally break down, maybe one meeting will just be all about financials. Another meeting would be, just all about, lodging or something to that effect. Usually have a guest speaker, that sort of thing. I'm a little new to the 20 group. We just went to Alaska this year, and you travel to these campgrounds, so it's not like this, getting your hands on it. It's feeling it. It's getting to, just interact with their teams and their campground and their customer, and just really, really see how it's going. The ideas are huge, and it's just like it, and it's usually, I don't know, 3 days, approximately 3-4 days, twice a year. And it's like any sort of learning that you're going to retain something from. It's super immersive, right? You immerse yourself in it, right? Babbel or, something like that might work to learn a language, but look, you spend a week in, Spain, and your Spanish is definitely going to be better than a week on Babbel.
You remind me, because I was supposed to learn German before I leave in 2 weeks for Germany. And
yeah,
I haven't opened Babbel in 2 months, but I subscribed to it.
Yeah.
They got my money. So.
But I mean, and it's not bad, right? You can learn a lot, right? You can go on the internet, and you can YouTube, and you can, do all of these things, but that immersion is going to just gain those insights. And to your point, you're not alone, right? You got confidence, right? You've got somebody standing next to you going, hey, I don't know. We're both going to jump off this bridge together. And, hey, if one of us swims, we win. And that's okay.
I used to be part of a 20 group. I used to be part of one of the first 20 groups.
Okay.
And we had to leave because of family medical issues. The timing was wrong for the meetings.
Yep.
But you go to the campgrounds and you don't steal ideas, they're thrown at you. And we'd go to the campground and the camp owner would say, hey, can you please go around my campground and tell me what stuff stands out to you and what recommendations would you have? And so one of the things was they're in the forest and people were missing the sights after dark because of how the road was curved and went around trees and stuff like that.
Yep.
And everybody's saying, put different signs or take these trees out and change the road. And I said, what if you just use a different color gravel? So you're brainstorming to help someone else.
Yeah.
And then they get to decide which direction they go from there, if they do anything at all. So if you go and there's 5 other campgrounds, 6 other campgrounds that are throwing out ideas, it's a fresh set of eyes. And when you go into the large group sessions here, you hear stuff from all over the country. But when you go there, you hear people that you're not afraid to ask a question to because they're people that you know.
Right.
They're friends.
They know you. They're your park, your situation.
They know you. They know your area. They know they've been to your campground probably, and then they can make recommendations or just sit there and let you cry on their shoulder if that's what's needed for that particular time. It's awesome.
All right, what else we got to talk about? What time is it? I don't even know. 2:45. We've killed 16 more minutes. Do we have anything else we want to cover? Because there's tons of people standing here who are ready to go into a KOA ID exchange, right? Now, have you guys ever first camp convention? Have they ever had this before? I feel like
I think it used to be termed like a Cracker Barrel, where they throw out ideas. But I love the name change because it gives you an idea of what it actually is. It's an idea exchange, and it goes back to what he was talking about, kind of with the 20 group, in that people will throw out an issue that they're having, and you'll have a whole group trying to answer that question. What other industry have you been in that does that?
I mean, none, but I've been in probably only 3 industries, so
I
believe you, Jeff.
Yeah. Most of the ones I've been in are very secretive about what they think is their secret sauce that makes them.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, that's fair. What other industry has as much collaboration? And I think you're right. I can't think of one.
No, I had my choice of to come back in once I retired. I had my choice of what industry to come back into, and I came back into this one because the people that, whether it's KOA or just campground owners in general, are the best people ever. They're so friendly and open. It's a great industry to be in. That's why I'm still here. I love it.
You retired, and you came back to camping, and then you started a consulting company?
Yes.
Because you were bored?
Yes.
Why did you retire in the first place?
Because you're supposed to.
Oh, okay.
And I found out retirement is actually horrible.
Yeah, that's not for me. I worked on 96.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He said, I don't know if you heard him, but he said that's why you get work campers. So they have something to do, which is, it's awesome. So, all right. I don't know. What else is going on here? We got the expo. Let's talk about the expo real quick. We'll fill up the last few minutes here, and we'll break early if we need to. So the expo preview is going to open tonight. They're about 3 hours. We're going to get in here right after the show. I think and take our big yellow shirt photo, right? Well, you guys will.
I can only one.
Yeah. But one of in the Slack channel, the team was commenting today with all the yellow shirts, and they said I look like Groot in the Minions because I have this mismatch. So, what most excites you about the expo? Is there anything specific you're looking forward to? Any companies you want to check out? Anything you know for sure you need to buy?
Actually, what we're doing, we're pretty well planned for 23 on what we're doing. We're looking at 24, trying to find vendors for water parks.
Okay.
And we did EV already in our park. We did it last year. The problem was we can't get electric. We're waiting for the boxes, so I can't speak as to how EV is really going to work because nobody got to plug into them. So we're trying to be ahead of that. But the water park is one thing, and then we're looking for unique structures to put onto our campsites to go along with the campground of the future, trying to give them the total experience, like maybe a campground site with almost not a tiny house, but a nice little settee that has a fireplace in it, where they can sit and have a good time, but they're not in their motorhome or their camper, so they have a nice weather enclosed place that they can eat dinner and they're still outside. So I'm kind of looking for something unique.
I don't want to put any pressure on you, but I think you should be the first guy to build that beautiful site that Toby was talking about. I think that's you, man.
I may already have some of those.
Oh, really? All right,
You
I'm
gotta
going to camp with you. Yeah, I'm going to camp with you. James.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go check that out. I don't know. Those deluxe sites are crazy. Yeah, I mean, for me, again, I think it's just one, just seeing what's out there, where the market's going, what are the vendors, right? I mean, KOA's coming out with a shoe line, right? Like, I mean,
do you think we can steal one of these? Do they let us steal one? Can we steal a shoe for a second and show it on camera?
But I think for me, I think the biggest thing I'm looking for at Expo is just getting more of the relationships. Yeah. Like, really, like foam?
Here's the KOA shoe. It's gonna be. You said it's gonna be yellow, but they pictured it in red. So anyway, so here's the cool little KOA shoe. They're gonna have these. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, I hadn't even.
So REI and a bunch out. Like, I don't know exactly the retail yet, but they're gonna sell these things pretty widely. So, there's another version here. She's got another version out. Okay, so there's that one, and then we got this little guy right here. Pretty cool little shoe.
Yes.
So again, that should be pretty cool. That should definitely further the brand a little bit, and it's a really interesting kind of idea. But go ahead. Sorry, Expo.
Yes. So,
are you buying shoes?
What's that?
Are you buying shoes?
I'm probably not going to be carrying shoes. That is not in my store plans. But just seeing what's out there, I think one thing that we always look at closely is kids stuff, the toys. It's just always evolving, always changing, right? I mean, it's fidget spinners one week, and then it's popsicles the next week, and it's staying up on that stuff, right? There's stuff that's always consistent, like plush animals, but some years it's the outfit that's great, some years it's the bear that does great. So kind of seeing where that's going, the toys and the trends are, and then also seeing clothing, the t-shirts, right? What are the trends? I think in the last 24 months, we're really seeing the trend back to what I refer to as like the 70s, kind of some faded out looking. It's got multicolor a little bit brighter. So just kind of seeing where those trends are going, trying to make sure that we're anticipating we've got the right merchandise in our stores for those type of things.
Cool. Nate, you've got 6 KOA properties. Are they stocking different things or all the same things in your store? Or?
80-20.
Okay.
So 80% is very consistent, 20% is more geared to the location of each store.
Okay.
As far as expo goes, it's very similar to see what the cross section is of different vendors and different products, kind of what to do. EV is a big topic for us right now as well. So, Wootteon is actually here. They've got one of the parks. They've also got some other car station equipment. So, very excited to go check that out as well.
Awesome. Grant?
How are you, Grant?
I just did a remodel and doubled the size of my store. We set it up. I probably would have really nice space for product.
Did you do that because the Rising Star Award, like his wife made him, remember?
No.
It's not because of your wife and she needed more shelf space? Okay. All right. Oh, all right. Okay.
But I'm going to need to bring in a whole bunch of new products, stuff that I haven't had before. It just gives me an opportunity to see a lot of stuff at the same time, as opposed to it's show where I got 200 different booths to go into that are not necessarily related to the industry. So I go in here and see stuff that are related to the industry. See if there's new stuff I want to do, bring in old stuff, new product from an old supplier, or if there's something really out of the shoes. I had big signs for a couple years. So the products vary so much from year to year that every time you find the same thing from a different supplier with a different choice. Finding out a lot of my glamping cabinets fit some other use.
Okay.
They come in parts.
Did you see that Conestoga at the glamping show had a bar wagon? Yeah. It sold pretty quick, but I want one of those in my backyard. So yeah. I think they will too. Yeah.
It was awesome.
But something I was thinking of doing is they've got the glamping cabins have a porch. Add-on porch. With a deck with a cover again.
Okay.
Well, if you take just that porch, and it's about 6 feet wide, which is enough for a car. And take care of the motorcycle.
Okay.
The motorcycle riders want to have the bike protector more than they want themselves.
Yep.
So we give them a nice isolated work and with just a screen so they can still see the bike. The bike is out of the range. That's something that I put into the campground. They like to push things. They put the site, they push the site. They talk to one of the suppliers. Australia was willing to sell me just the porch so that I could get that. He was going to catch shipment to.
Sorry. We're cameras. Sorry. It's okay.
So that they could so I could wait up so someone else. So if you even ask the suppliers if they can modify something, they won't do that.
That's true. That's a good point. Okay, last question, then we're going to go. What are you looking forward to from Wootteon KOA Journey in 2023?
Site delineation, just to make the whole thing more crisp and cleaner. And more the guests come back again.
Awesome. Nate, 2023.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some of the results of these experiments that we're doing and test through the course of the season. See what works, what doesn't, and then move forward.
Cool.
Yeah, I think for us, it's just continuing to grow, continuing to add value to the guests, attendees, different things to just make it better. You know, when our grants KOA, we're going to be adding like 15 sites, up cabins. So that's going to be huge. Transform the park by 30%. So that'll be a big jump. But just Brigham City, it's just keeping on. I guess we've done a lot of changes there already. So just keep taking care of that guest. You know, adapt as their demands change, just change with them.
Awesome. And Jeff, close us out.
I'm excited to hopefully have electric. I put in 39 brand new deluxe sites that were supposed to be open July 1st of 2022. They're still not open. And so
I know whole parks that couldn't open because they didn't get pedestals.
Our May 1st opening should be great because we've had these sites promised now for about 6 months. So we're already booked for May 1st.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate you joining us. Jeff, James, Nate, Grant. Amazing last minute guest, Grant. You're going to have to be on the show more. Like, I'm in Canada.
He does come visit.
All right. You come visit me in Canada too. We'll go hike. All right. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you watching another episode of MC Fireside Chats. Again, my name is Brian Searl. Thankful for Cara who hung out in the back end through all this. Hopefully she got some good insights that she could take. And I'm sure we're going to talk about it in future shows. So we're going to go back to this convention. They're going to share some ideas. We're going to check out Expo. We're going to have a good time. But thank you guys for joining us. I really appreciate it. Take care. We'll see you next week. I'm going to go this way. It's going to look weird. I'm going to stop the video.
I did drop my name tag off to get it put on it. Yeah.
Thanks for watching this episode of MC Fireside Chats, hosted by Brian Searl and Cara Csizmadia. Have a suggestion for a future show or want to see your campground or company as part of an episode? Email us at hello@moderncampground.com. Join us next week for another episode. And don't miss the latest outdoor hospitality news and commentary from around the world at moderncampground.com.